Oh, well, I was right. I've made this comment several times now. It seems like every day when we have a show to do and I have to sit down and just start taking notes of the news of the day, it's like, oh my God, doesn't it just feel like it's accelerating and getting faster and faster and faster?
I've been reading the astrology on this
Uh-huh.
time where the snake goes into the winter. The snake
Yeah.
time is passing. Hi everyone, how are you
Hey,
all?
hi,
Good to
everyone.
see you all. So the snake time is passing. He is fleeing with the winter under his rock, and
Yeah.
he can hear the drum beats of that horse.
Hmm.
And so as he leaves, what's scary is that we're in that transition time
Yes,
between,
we
I think
are.
it's the snake going and this time that's coming with the
Hmm. The
fire
fire
horse.
horse. Yeah.
Fire brings water as the antidote.
Yes, and I believe I talked about this on the Tuesday show about the flooding in my bathroom and my hallway
I feel so
because of
bad for
my pipe.
you because I
Oh,
know what's going on with you astrologically. I feel so bad for you.
oh,
But please go
really?
ahead. Yeah,
Tell
go ahead.
me. Oh, no, you tell me. You say you feel bad about what's happening to me astrologically.
Well,
The
I
water
mean,
coming in.
you're a metal rat.
Metal rat.
And
Yes.
so this is going to be a challenging year for you in the
Yeah.
sense that you will grow more than you've ever grown in your entire life, you
Well,
know?
I don't think there's any choice but to grow. You even put it to me that this is like a make or break year for me. And it's critical that I be extremely focused, organized, and just work really hard going with the flow of this intensity. But I'm already
Right.
feeling the intensity. I think many millions of us are.
Right. I think everybody is feeling that energy of just the fire horse is coming. We've talked a lot about Chinese medicine and how in
Yeah.
Chinese medicine, everything is balanced too. Everything seeks balance. Like
Mhm.
if you have extreme fire, you're going to attract water.
Yeah.
So anyway, but you're going to be okay, Chuck. I think you're going to be okay, right?
I plan to be okay. I'm doing my best, but it
What's the
has
latest on the fire at your house?
uh, the fire at my
I mean,
house.
I'm sorry, the flooding. You had the
The
opposite
flooding.
happening, the
Oh, well, we
flooding.
got okay,
Water
we
puts out fire, which is why people tend to attract,
yeah.
water
Well,
when you
the
have
the
extreme
the
fire.
plumbing issue has been corrected. The water has been dried up.
Oh,
I
thank God.
presently have stuff everywhere in my home because I had to pull all of this stuff out of my bathroom and out of my hallway, and it just coincided when I was putting a lot of boxes in there of things because I'm reorganizing my home, and everything got soaked. So it's been a
Oh.
dry out period for me. And guess what? Today we had a building inspection.
Oh, good God,
The
dear.
worst time imaginable to be inspected by your landlord.
I
They
can
came in today.
imagine.
I guess I have to find humor in this.
Yeah, so, this is the 5 element theory and how it can impact us. But, we're heading into that exploding Powell energy of fire, insults, destroys, creates, and overreacts. So we have the fire horse, two aspects. It's
Mhm.
quick. It's associated also with the Knight of Wands in the Tarot.
Mhm.
And it is a cycle which I believe begins officially February 17th. So now we're just feeling the drum beats.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Like it's
Yeah.
every day. It feels like it's intensifying.
Now, if you go down here, you'll see that wood feeds fire,
Mhm.
right? I don't know. Is this visible to everyone? I can make it larger if everybody needs me to make it
It's a little
larger.
small. If you could make it larger, please.
Um, but yeah, I could make it larger. I don't know how I would do that, but
Yeah. Well, this is enough, and you're explaining it.
yeah. So the point is, let me see. I think I do have a way of doing it larger here. Okay, let me try this because I want people to see this. It's always nice to have a visual, wouldn't you say?
I think it's
Well,
not.
we're getting that fixed, and we're going to go into this because we've got a lot of weather news we want to talk about. Why don't you go ahead and say
Yes.
hi to people while we
Well,
set this
hello.
up?
Yes. Let me grab my glasses here. We let me scroll to the top here. That would also help quite a bit. Well, first of all, I see our incredible Joel Tilson, our floor director, that we are very grateful to, and he has a lot of questions here. Always comes up with great topics for us to take on. In fact, I'm
Thank
scroll. Scrolling
And
through
you wanna
Joel
tell
here.
everybody who Joel is?
Well, I just mentioned he's our wonderful floor director.
Yes, thank you,
Yes,
Joel, for
and we're
being
very
here.
grateful to Joel. And of course, Gigi Pardo Lord. I just spoke to her on the phone recently. Really nice
Hi,
lady.
Gigi.
Really,
Yes, her
hi,
her
Gigi.
her stuff is in the mail.
It's in the mail. And then we have Sally Joe, 4267.
Hi.
Hi. We have Brenda Rakestraw. And let me scroll down some further. Lots of Joel Tilson's in here. Intuitive Kathy. Hello, my
Oh,
friend.
hello, Intuitive.
I am making friends with so many of you out
Me
there
too. This is a
personally.
great job. We get paid to make friends.
I think that's good. But
I
we have,
love our job. I love our
as I
job.
say to people on the phone when I do get to talk to you, it's like you're just like an extended family, and it's a good feeling when we go on
Yes.
here.
So we'll
And do
so
we have the Sybil 5D and yes, Whimsy.
I was going to say, we're going to keep saying hi to people as we go along. And of course, we've
Okay.
got a couple of announcements to make as well. Be sure and share, like, and subscribe to the stream if you haven't done so yet. I know Chuck and I would really appreciate it.
Would.
We have finished our book of the month. Those of you who are still reading it, it was The
Oh,
Trouble with Truth
fabulous.
with the
Yeah.
amazing Elizabeth Kelly Stevenson. I think one of the best books I've been able to promote. How are you feeling about that interview we did
Oh,
Tuesday?
I had a lot of fun doing that interview because, as you said, it's one of the best books we've ever had on the show. Not that each of our books haven't been wonderful, but she is a gifted writer. And it's always my pleasure to get to meet the author in person after having read the book. And, it's like a fantasy come true where I can actually ask that author questions. And of course, I realize I'm doing it on behalf of all of you as well. And it's a chance to let the author really shine. But I love that interview.
Yeah, so we are starting a new book. As one book comes to an end, another book opens. And so we are very proud to announce that our selection for January 22nd into mid February will be Rainbow Weather. Our book selected this month is Rainbow Weather Stories from Beautiful Nowhere by Kat Koch. In 2015, I moved to West Cork in the southwest of Ireland. This book is a collection of short stories about my time living there. It's full of unrepeatable magic and synchronicity. Of course, there's more there, but I like this short story form. It reminds me of other authors we have had here who have had short story form.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of a few, but
It's your Italian friends.
yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Rosalia.
Rosalia, yeah.
Oh, yes. Her book is one. She's
What a great writer, another great
that was one of
writer.
my all-time favorite books that we've ever had. And that interview was such a treat. In fact, she became a personal friend of mine.
You know, my favorite book of short stories used to be Alice in Wonderland. It was one of the first short story series I'd ever read. It was written by Harlan Ellison,
Yeah.
and people bought it just for the introduction, which was 35 pages. It was his autobiography about being picked on and beaten up in Texas growing up and how he got into writing. But a great book of short stories. And of course, over the years, I've enjoyed other great short stories. And what I like about them is you can read one short story before you go to bed, and
Yes.
then
I
you
agree.
get to look forward to the next one. So
Yeah.
you can get it on Amazon. Rainbow Weather by Kat Koch. And of course, we look forward to having her in our studio sometime around February
I look
20th.
forward to that myself.
I'm thinking it's going to be February 20th. You know, I never know when a Tuesday falls, but it will be on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
It will be February 23rd. Oh no, February 24th. There you go. February 24th. She will
I
be
was
on the
trying to
studio.
look on my phone calendar here for you, but you found it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, our book club is quite sacred to me. I love doing it.
Yeah, you do a great job interviewing.
Oh, thank you.
So we've talked about this time exploding POW is how you can think about it with this heat that is moving in energetically over the planet, which is swift and aggressive, and you can hear those hoof beats now as they move in, and it's insults, destroys, creates, and overreacts. And you can see down on the bottom of the imagery the water symbol, and that's because black and blue are the colors of kidneys
Hmm.
and the adrenals, which are
Yes.
associated with the water element, as is the bladder. And you can see that it's directing its destroys towards fire, and that's because water will counteract. So anytime you have an extreme reaction, you're going to have a extreme counter movement, the counterculture movement, right? So it's
Right.
like counterculture. If you have an extreme right wing, you're going to have an extreme left, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're seeing, and I just wanted people to see it from a 5 element perspective, that
Mhm.
we have this extreme heat moving in, and then we have this extreme ice water moving in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Whimsy, I mean, the fact that I so literally had this happen in my home, do you have anything you could add to that as it would apply to me?
Well, I just think there's a lot of heat, and I think that the reaction now is water, and so
Mhm.
this goes to an idea that we could be having a very difficult winter. The other thing I want people to look at is the metal element, and that is around the time of the winter.
Yeah.
And that is associated with the Knight of Swords when you get that angry metal. And
Mhm.
that is also what we're experiencing right now. In terms of the season, we're going from the time of summer into the fall and the winter, which is the metal and water energy. And
Mhm.
that angry wind energy, which we see with the Knight of Swords.
Mhm.
Another card I associate with the dead of winter is the Hermit card. He
Yeah.
stands in the dead of winter with a light, waiting, wondering
Oh.
when the sun will come out. And that's traditionally February 14th in Ireland. It's when
Mm.
lovers would come out. And it was the
Yeah.
first time when you would break out of your home and just check to see how much longer there would be frost.
It's
So
just
that's also
incredible
something to think about.
when you mentioned angry winds. The first thing that came to mind, what you said about viruses coming in, winds, angry winds, but
Mhm.
also what's happening with the weather today. This very ferocious storm being forecast.
Yeah, the other thing that we talk about, summer, and summer being, that fiery heat, it gives birth to the fall, the earth energy, and that's when we start to see the fermenting of viruses and bacteria is right
Yeah.
around that earth time energy of Indian summer and fall, and then we see all hell break loose around winter time,
Yeah.
fall winter time when we go into the metal and the water elements. And so every action there's a reaction of equal or greater force, which how this ties in politically is what I really wanted to talk about today. And that
Okay.
has to do with this idea that we have this massive storm system that's moving in all the way from Montana to Vermont.
Yeah, and, I think it's affecting well, I heard there were national emergencies declared in nearly a dozen states, like,
Yes.
yeah, Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia.
Yeah, we had talked about your beautiful Virginia was gonna be
Yeah.
affected, and that I didn't think that Trump should be in DC at
Yes,
the
you have
end of
said that.
January, and I predicted at the end of January. What I had was a vision that at the end of January, it was the coldest vision I've ever seen. I
Yeah,
think we had talked about that. I've never felt as a remote viewer, I can just say it, I've never experienced cold like that before
right.
when I projected forward, and it put me at around late January, early February, and I couldn't for the life of me, when I put myself in the shoes of Donald Trump, imagine him being in DC.
You've
So I
said
wouldn't
that.
be
Yeah.
right, so I wouldn't be, and DC is one of the states that's gonna be under freezing
Well,
temperatures.
DC is right on the border between Virginia and Maryland, so yes.
Yeah, I think he should stay in Florida.
Well, because of his health, you had
Yeah.
talked about that, he just, an old let's say it, an old man with his poor health, that's that kind of weather would be treacherous for him.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a good thing that somebody has those kinds of, um do we have the numbers right? I'm just checking my numbers here. I don't think that that's good at all, but, the other thing is that there are going to be consequences. If the government cannot control the problems right now with the environment, what's going to happen as a result of it?
Yeah.
Because all that snow is going to melt.
Oh, yeah. I grew up in Virginia. I mean, we had severe winters when I lived there. People have this idea because Virginia is a southern state, it has great weather. No, we would get terrible ice storms, snowstorms. My senior year in high school, we had school closed for 5 weeks because of a torrential snowstorm. I didn't graduate high school until almost June 20th because of that, because we had so many makeup days.
Mm-hmm.